Blueprints can be a real game changer for those who haven't used them before in Satisfactory. They can be used to create small single factories, scaling factory lines, quick building balances, foundations, detailed pieces of decoration, train lines, and even your highways. There's so much that is truly possible with the Blueprinter, and though some of you may feel it's small, the recent additions have really improved its scalability. But after a conversation with Nilas the other day, very briefly, they mentioned there were some issues present with the Blueprint Designer, and to be honest, I have to agree with them. It's not very user-friendly, so today I thought we'd cover how to create blueprints in your game and use them, and we'll also briefly talk about organization, and then finally I'll show you how to use a curved blueprint in game that you'll be able to easily snap together for trains and highways, because we've been asked a lot about that in our live streams at the moment over on twitch.tv/Totalxclipse. So let's get to it. Initially, the Blueprint Designer is first unlocked in tier 4 of the hub. Secondly, you have the second tier in tier 6, and there's also a third tier available in tier 9, each one having one extra space available in terms of foundations, both widthwise, lengthwise, and vertically. Once unlocked, you will be able to find the Blueprinter in the special section of the build menu. This is the Blueprint Designer, and if we go over here, you can see we can place whatever we want inside of here. Let's take our nice and easy light trick here. We will just quickly get rid of these, and I'm going to replace it with just a white color, and we're going to add its emission and leave it like so. We can delete this. And there we have an easy to place light. So when it comes to the Blueprint Designer, once you're happy with what you've designed, you can go over to this machine, and from here we can type in a name for it. So we'll just do it as a simple light for this example. And from here we can put in the description that we want. Maybe we'll say it's a label sign if you want, and we can also add an icon. So if we go to signs, we can just grab that, and I like to color code mine, so I use dark blue for a permanent and I use red for temporary. And then from here we can add it to a directory. When we add it to a directory, we have the option to add it in the undefined category, or we can choose to add a new category. So for this example, we will use this new category, and we're going to name it lighting. And we'll keep the icon as the same, but from here we can go to lighting, and once again we can add a subcategory here, and from here we can name this sign lights. From here we can add the blueprint, and to save it we have to click apply changes, and then from here we have to press X to exit the menu. Now in order to save the blueprint, do not press X here. You have to press save blueprint down here. It can be a little bit confusing and overwhelming when you're first playing around with the blueprint, so do make sure to do that. And then once you're happy with it, we can choose to either work on it more, or we can clear the Blueprint Designer. This empties the Blueprint Designer. It empties the blueprint that was loaded in, and if you want to grab your resources, though it's bugged out at the moment, you'll see here there is a blueprint storage box. And if you built outside of creative mode, I'm using creative mode at the moment, you will find your resources in here. Another thing to mention with the Blueprint Designer, we can go from pressing Q in the build menu and going across to blueprints, or the same with X from the customizer across to blueprints. I haven't found a button that allows us to go straight to blueprints, and I find it odd that there isn't one. So if I have missed it somehow, please do let me know in the comments below. Now looking over here, we have some undefined blueprints. We have a large foundation blueprint. And while we're at it, let's talk about the blueprint build modes. You can put your blueprints, by the way, and also color swatches in your hotbar by hovering over the item and then pressing the associated number. So for example, 9 has given me a new color swatch. And if I hold E, I can go across and choose other swatches in the related swatch. Same goes for our blueprints. So if I was to put load balancer tester as 9, any other items that are in the same category will show up. So for example, the foundation. Now what I would recommend is that you do organize your blueprints. For me, I had 120 odd blueprints in my previous save and it just got all out of hand because I never organized it. So if you do want to organize it on the fly, you can just go to edit, and then from here we're going to do add category, and I recommend having one for foundations. You can change the category as or the icon as you see fit. And I would also recommend having one for things like factory lines. I have one for railways. You may want to do railways and highways. Another one if you're someone who likes to use balancers, and so on. So definitely customize your menu according to what you use. Now that you are in the edit, we can also move these across to different areas. However, you do have to have a subcategory created, and then from here we can put this into the balancer column. So you can click and drag. So we're going to do the same with this one, and if you want to adjust this, you can. This is a simple 1 to 5 load balancer, and we can put mark 1 so that we know it's 60. Why not, let's go with a splitter, and because it's a permanent one, we'll go with blue. And from here, remember, you need to apply changes. That way it has been saved in this location. We then have our foundation, and we can do the same approach. We can go over to foundations and add the subcategory. We can do 4 meter foundations. From here, move this into this section. Make sure that it's highlighted when dragging, otherwise it may not come across. And from here we can apply the changes, and here you are, you have it in this section. Next, we're going to do a very quick constructor manifold. And what you may find is it's quite difficult to build from the floor. So I highly recommend, if you are struggling, to use either the watchtowers to give you a top-down view, or if you have the hover pack unlocked, you can go ahead and place the power in each of the corners. And this should mean it's pretty well covered whilst you're building. One thing that we do need to talk about though is that unfortunately conveyors and pipes and rails do not connect with other blueprints. So you cannot place a conveyor against here and expect it to connect with another blueprint. I don't know if that's something that they're working on, but it's certainly something to be aware of for now. Once done, remember to exit and then save the blueprint. Don't exit, otherwise you will lose it, or you'll have to save it. But from here, we can build our factory line. We have blueprint mode, which allows us to snap to other blueprints. You can see it's trying to snap to the sides of the foundation that we're on. Or it has default mode, which gives you a lot more freedom. Now you can choose to nudge these. So press H to nudge or to lock in, and then use the mouse keys to nudge, like so. And then once you're done with it, you can then easily delete each blueprint separately, one at a time, by pressing R or holding R and then going to blueprint when you're in your dismantle build gun or dismantle gun. And as you can see, you can delete the whole blueprint. Next, let's cover how to build a curved blueprint, because a lot of people have been asking about this in our streams at the moment. Now, this is one of the tips that I show off in one of my recent videos, so I will put a link to that if you want some more build tips that will help you out. But here we're going to nudge into place, having just turned or rotated the foundation on the corner. And we're going to set up a very quick and easy 5-degree curve. If you want to know more about the specifics of how to do this, again, do check my video on that, because we are going to gloss through it. But from here, in my current save, I do use 1 meter walls to create a mini kind of barrier. And I do this all the way along. And you'll notice that it is quite tight. You could just place the barriers on the outside and it's going to look even cleaner. But I like having the different depths. By the way, just so you know, when I'm nudging, I am holding control so that it nudges in a 50 centimeter increment rather than 1 meter. And I also place along the bottom edge a wall as well. And the reason for this is I like to have metallic, it's actually the unpainted one that I use, a metallic finish on the outside and then a colored wall on the inside. Next, we're going to grab our blueprint previously. By the way, there is a little bug, hopefully it won't happen here, but sometimes when you place a blueprint within a, actually, let's not do that just in case. Sometimes when you place a blueprint within a blueprint designer, it can cause the blueprint to reset. But as you can see, I'm just placing mine along the middle of each of these walls. And then we're adding our lighting. And we do this either side. It's a really quick blueprint to set up. And I will quickly do, outside of recording, a straight version of this as well, so we can snap them together. And then in architecture, we're going to use the beam support. I use this to break up the signs so that it looks from afar more like dotted lights. And we'll have these unpainted as well. And that's pretty much it. A nice, simple, curved blueprint. So the next thing that we need to do is see this in action. I forgot to mention the blueprint is directional based, so you'll have to do a curved right blueprint and a curved left blueprint for this. We are going to now play around with this. So if we grab our straight blueprint. Now I should mention, when you are building your blueprints, if you're struggling to get the vertices, there are 2 ways in which you can do this. Either you rebuild it with the same, the matching blueprint, matching foundation depth. So this is a 4 meter foundation. We need to do it with a 4 meter foundation for it to line up. The other option is to build your first foundation onto a foundation. So for example, here you can see we want it to be in line. We want to get it roughly here, and then we're going to nudge it in place. So this is the straight edge of our blueprint. From here, we're going to want to add a curve. Now we only have a curved right blueprint, so we're going to have to make sure that it's curving to the right by turning it around. If we use blueprint mode, it will snap to the edge, but not necessarily in front. So just make sure that you nudge it into place. Now at this point, most people are able to do this without too much issue, but then they have an issue trying to add more curved blueprints to this. You see here that if you place your curved blueprint onto the edge of the curved blueprint here, that we've got a straight edge against a straight edge. So it's not a smooth curve, it's going to have a straight section in between. So the way in which we avoid that is if we go back to the blueprint designer, we're just going to cut off the first foundation. And we're going to remove everything from it. Like so, and from here we can save this as a continued curve right blueprint. So we can then save it. But from here we can grab our blueprint, press H, and then we're just going to nudge it so that's inside. And there you go. That is how you do a continued curve. And you can do this multiple times with that piece. If you want to go left, you will have to use a left blueprint. You can't use these because the positioning is going to be way off. And there you are. You can see a lovely, easy curve. The 5 degree works perfectly for your trains. I used to use 10 degrees, but the gentler curves do look much better. If you do want to do a curve for a parallel train, it's really simple. We'll just grab our curve right. And then from here, we just add on the inside of the curve a second layer. It really is just that easy. But there you are, guys. I hope you found this useful. If you have, please do hit the thumbs up. And if you have any more questions, please let me know in the comments below. I should also mention I'm doing a giveaway today over on twitch.tv/Totalxclipse with some exclusive Satisfactory merch and some game keys for some other games as well. So if you would like to join me, by all means, please do. And best luck with you for that. But we are going to leave it there. Special thanks goes to all of our amazing supporters on Patreon, most notably our Lunar Eclipse Patreons, Fireless, The Calamity, Ben and Star, and our Blood Moon of the Day, which today is Dr. Shotgun. Until next time, as always, ciao for now.